Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Once again, this is Jeffrey Daniel coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. Today is December 24th, 2022, according to that Gregorian calendar. I will never stop banging on that until we get our calendars right, okay? We got to reclaim our world back again. So, anyway, for a lot of you, today is going to be Christmas Eve. That magical time of the year you all have been waiting for. I can see in America they're having a lot of trouble with the winter that's blown in, the snowstorms that's freezing everything, and over 5,000 flights were canceled over this period of time. And wow, I think a lot of people trying to get home to be with their families because you all got to get. I'm gonna talk about that later, you guys. I'm gonna get into that later. But I wish you all safe travels. Those of you who are trying to be with your family, wherever you are, if it's in Europe or wherever you are, we're traveling, trying to be with your loved ones. For all of our Christian family members who are trying to be with their loved ones for this time of the year. And I'm gonna dig into that, you guys. So don't worry, okay? Anyway, first of all, I'd like to once again welcome all the beautiful people for joining in with me again. And as you know, the beautiful people are the people who are looking for the knowledge, truth. Those are the beautiful people in the world today, you guys. Every subscriber is a blessing and every viewer is a gift and vice versa. And this is the information age. Ignorance is a choice. So if you hear any uncomfortable truths, remember, the truth has no obligation to be comfortable. It just has to be honest. In this climate of fake news and cancel culture, I endeavor to be the voice of reason. So let me get in my disclaimers. Anything I say is not meant to be discriminative against any race of people, any group of people, or any individual. I don't like to bang on people, but I like to bang on topics and the issues, okay? All right? So we're going to get this started, you guys. So real quick, I want to ask the Black community something. This doesn't exclude everybody else from listening, but I want to ask the Black community a question. Is it a crime to make our own products? I know there's some of you who do, but who I'm really talking about, I really hope this Kanye West, Brother Ye, and Kyrie Irving incident has taught every Black celebrity with endorsement power a very valuable lesson. If your name is driving the sales of a product, especially into the multi-millions and billions of dollars sales figures, you don't need Nike. You don't need Adidas or any other established company brand. We need to manufacture our own products within our own community as every other race does. Therefore, you can never be dropped from your legally standing contracts in the middle of your agreed contractual period for miscellaneous reasons. Also, you can stand for what you believe in without being canceled or besmirched in the media as a hateful or anti-anything person. So that's the solution. So let's see where we all go from here. If you have the power to put your name behind something and drive its sales figures up into the high 6-figure, 7-figure digits and all that stuff, do you need the same thing with the music community? You guys are the product. So do you need this major record label? Do you need this? I understand that certain companies have a distribution, network set up so they can get it out to the people. But where did they start from? They had to start from somewhere. You guys stop being afraid to start from ground zero. Build it from ground zero and you will own it, okay? All right, let me continue. Just to hit on a couple of topics that are happening, real quick, because I'm not a news station. I tell you guys that I'm not here to report the news. You can get that on CNN and Fox News or whatever network, BBC, NHK. But there's certain things I like to touch on because, these things are prevalent in our society. But it's funny. Check this out, you guys. It's funny how they can change the pronunciation of a word or name at whim. For me, Fried spells fried, okay? But for some reason, they're pronouncing his last name as Freed. I never order free chicken. I order fried chicken, okay? But seriously, Sam Bankman is fried, not freed. As he was recently arrested in the Bahamas and extradited back to the United States to face criminal charges for committing the biggest money scam in U.S. history. Something like $36 billion for his cryptocurrency company. And they got the guy. He's about to go under. He's about to go under, you guys. And how do you guys fall for a money investment scheme anyway? Using words like cryptocurrency and bitcoins? Your ass has got bit and now sending you to an early crypt. I never trusted any of these online digital currency platforms anyway, and I'd rather stick with tangible currency that I can feel in my hands. So if any of you lost your hard-earned money in this elaborate Ponzi scheme, there's one born every minute. There's one born every minute, you guys. You guys got to be more cautious and more carefully. I know you guys probably looked into it because you're reading what they're telling you, what they're purporting this company's going to do. And if you put your money into this, it's going to do that and it's that. And it also, usually when something sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Our parents taught us that. If something sounds too good to be true, 9 out of 10, it's too good to be true. But anyway, this guy has gone down, and other, what do they want to call it? Bitcoin companies are cryptocurrency companies. Their shares and stuff have gone down because of this. You guys just got to really watch what you're doing. And some celebrities got caught up into that as well. They mentioned some celebrities that, helped to endorse his company and stuff. So I wish everybody well. Okay. Anyway, as I said before, less than 1% of people on earth, in fact, only enough people to fill up a boardroom, are dictating and controlling the lives of over 8 billion people. And why are we allowing this? Why are we allowing this to happen? They come up with paradigms and inventions, and we just follow along like blind sheep, even to our own detriment. If Billboard reports an artist is number one, you are repeated like trained parrots, even if you don't even particularly like that artist. Then they reveal which movie is a blockbuster hit and which movies are flops based on their own opinions. And you all will pay through your dumb noses for a brand name product just because they advertise that it's supposed to be the thing. It's supposed to be the thing, the popular. It's, you got to have this. If you're wearing that, if you got this, if you have the latest iPhone, if you have the latest, and you guys are just paying through your noses, keeping up with their products, making them multi-billionaires while you're struggling to keep up with their products. Think about that. Think about that. People, you have to start thinking for yourselves. You don't need brand name products to validate your presence in this universe. We are not just on a planet. We are in a universe, and it's only as big as you can allow yourselves to see and perceive it to be. If your universe is only a 20 city block radius, then that's your world. If your country of birth is as far as you can travel, and you're not experiencing other cultures firsthand, then that's your universe. The world, as I say, the world is your oyster. The greatest thing you can do, and one of the greatest benefits from me being an entertainer that I can think of is I had a chance to travel around the world and experience all these different cultures. I learned other languages. In fact, I moved and I'm living in other cultures. And it's just the most rewarding experience that you can imagine, seeing this. The world is ours. The world is ours. I don't care what country you're born in. The world is ours. As I said in my last post, the Europeans created countries. There weren't countries at first. We had nations set up. And then they came along with all these countries. Forget about the country. Forget about the flag, you guys. The world is ours, okay? Go see the world. Experience it, okay? All right, that's all I got to say about that. So, now let's get to tomorrow's great celebration day, okay? December 25th, Christmas Day, Yuletide spirit. One horse open sleighs and chestnuts roasting on open fires, Jack Frost snipping at your nose and Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Oh yeah, and somewhere along there is supposed to be Jesus Christ, isn't it? Somewhere under all of that, it's supposed to be Christmas trees and shopping sprees, and somewhere under there is supposed to be Jesus Christ. This is how the Christians are doing it. Okay, anyway. If any of you grown folks are walking around still believing in Santa Claus, Easter bunnies, tooth fairies, or that Jesus' birthday is December 25th, all I gotta say is, I ain't responsible for that, okay? If you choose to continue to suffer cognitive dissonance after knowing the truth, I ain't responsible for that either. But I will take the responsibility for telling you the real reason for observing December 25th. Now, I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty for putting up Christmas trees or decorating your houses and going out spending your hard-earned cash on gifts or singing Christmas carols and having a Christmas feast that's fit for a king, even though you know this all has nothing to do with the historical religious person known as the Christ. But I will once again not only tell you, but also help demonstrate the true meaning of December 25th, okay? So if you guys have never heard this before, don't attack me, attack the knowledge. If you guys have heard this before and you're sitting on the fence about it and you're not really sure what to think about it, it's not about believing something, it's about knowing. So here we go, you guys. Here we go, okay? Here we go. We all know that 70 countries around the globe adjust to daylight savings time, right? We know that, so that's a fact. Boom. In November, the clocks went back an hour to help compensate for the sun beginning to go down earlier as it moves to its lowest position in the sky. Well, actually, it's the Earth that's tilting on its axis away from the sun that, from our perspective, the sun is going down and laying at a lower perspective. That's what's really causing it. And it's causing us to lose daylight, okay? So that's what's really happening, all right? So it's not really the sun that's moving like that. It's the Earth revolving around the sun and the Earth that's tilting, all right? So from our perspective, because we're on the Earth, it appears that the sun is now in a very low position. This is what's happening, all right? Now, from December 21st, I should have did this post a couple of days ago, but I was just busy. There's a lot of things going on, you guys. From December 21st until the 25th of December, the sun lays at its lowest peak of the year, giving us the shortest days of the year as well as the longest night. You guys are seeing this for yourselves, okay? You see how early it gets dark now at this time of the year. That's why they have to do daylight savings time to compensate for it, or else it'll be going down too early, okay? So that's the best they could do, 1 hour, give or take. All right. It's called the winter solstice, all right? The birth of the solar sun, not the holy sun. Then from December 25th, it begins another cycle, gradually returning to its highest position in the sky by June 21st. And that's called the summer solstice. This is a cosmological phenomenon that has nothing to do with you believing in it or not. It happens. Therefore, the clocks move up an hour in March, and in the springtime, I think it's around March. Then the sun sets later in the day until the longest day of the year around June 21st, also giving us the shortest night of the year. So it's a 6-month cycle from June to December, from December back to June. It's a 6-month cycle, making up a year. You see what I mean? This is the real birth of the sun activity that occurs every year around December 25th. And how can you see this for yourselves? I'll show you guys. I told you guys this before. I think it was a year ago or something like that. When the sun sets on December 25th, go out and look at what building, a hill, or what kind of a landmark that the sun is setting behind. Then in the following weeks, notice how the sun arches a little higher in the sky and it sets in a different position, moving towards the right of the horizon. You can see this for yourself. This is empirical evidence of the birth of the solar sun, as observed and acknowledged by our ancient ancestors. They knew about this and they documented this. That's why it's the birth of the sun. The sun begins its new cycle, the birth of the sun. The 3 stars, the 3 wise men, the 3 kings, it's the star alignment that points to that, because that's where the sun lays at its lowest point. And then you can see the 3 stars. I think it's in the belt of Orion or something like that. And that you guys can look all this up for yourself. This is where this whole story of the three kings and the birth of the Son came from. Now, I know you biblical people are going to want to take your Bibles and smack me upside the head with it and beat me down because you guys were told that December 25th is the birth of Jesus Christ. I believed it too. I was born and raised a Christian. So that's why I know this. So you can't come spitting verses at me because I know those verses as well as you do. And I know the book as well as you do. So this is what December 20, I'm just telling you guys what the winter solstice is and the summer solstice. It's not about you believing it or not. It happens. It's going to happen. It was happening long before you got here. It's going to happen long after your butt is gone. It's still going to be going on. Okay? So now that you know the truth, enjoy your Merry Christmas and peace on earth. Okay, you guys, I'm not trying to bust nobody's bubble, you guys. I'm sorry, but I'm just giving you guys the knowledge, all right? Okay, anyway, I'm going to talk about something a little more serious right now. I want to talk about President Zelensky of Ukraine, and he came over to meet Joe Biden. Did any of you watch the emotional and courageous speech that Ukrainian President Zelensky made in front of the joint meeting of Congress? Yes, it was a very compelling speech, and he deserved every standing ovation that he received. And he received several standing ovations throughout his speech. But at the end of the day, he will return to a war-torn country that's being mercilessly bombarded daily by the Russian military. While the very governments that are responsible for instigating Putin into attacking Ukraine will be sitting by a nice, warm, and comfortable fireplace with lit trees in their own homes for Christmas, singing Christmas carols and enjoying a nice, hot, warm turkey dinner. While the people in Ukraine don't have power, they don't have lights, they don't have gas, they don't have heat, and they're in the winter, and the winter is starting to bite right now. And they're still on the front lines, either fighting, and they're still being bombarded with missiles. Do you think he and the people of Ukraine enjoy having to be courageous and embattled by a nonstop missile assault that's obliterating their country and displacing millions and killing thousands of their citizens? But they're being applauded for being courageous. People are like, yes, they're courageous. Go. But do you think they enjoy having to do this? They're doing this to survive. They're doing this out of necessity, okay? Anyway, now you see that the warmongering nature of the Europeans, instead of Biden and the United States finding a way to get Ukraine out of this hellish, disproportionate conflict, they're promising to send more weapons and monetary support so that they can continue fighting against a megalomaniac, that's the head of the Russian army, who vehemently refuses to back down. I blame this atrocious attack on the President Joe Biden and every other Western leader that spewed threats at Putin before he invaded, instead of trying to exhaust every option of diplomacy imaginable to avert this disproportionate onslaught. I blame them. And I remember Putin had his troops lined up around Ukraine. He was bringing them towards the border. And when they saw that happening, all they did, if you dare go into Ukraine, you're not going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And the moment he started invading, what did they do? They all fell back. Well, we can't get into a direct conflict with the Russian army because then that's going to be like Third World War. That's going to be a direct... Wouldn't they have thought of that before they started issuing all these threats to Putin and instigating these people to fight? But yes, the Ukrainian volunteer army is putting up a very brave fight, but look at the level of destruction they have to deal with once this conflict is finally over. It would take billions, if not trillions of dollars to rebuild the country. Will all of that insurmountable loss of life and property have been worth it? Because the way I see it, the only way out of this conflict will be either giving Putin some major territory concessions or taking Putin out of office. Putin refuses to walk away loser. He refuses to walk away loser. This guy used to be the head of the KGB. That's why his ego is so buffed up like that. Okay, I don't know what happened. I lost you guys there for a minute. This thing just shut off and I had to put it back on. Okay, sorry about that. So let me keep on going. Okay, so Joe Biden was sitting there in a nicely fitted suit while the Ukrainian president, fresh off the front lines, wore his military green fatigue looking outfit. Of course, we all have nothing but admiration and shared empathy for President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, but all of this could have clearly been avoided if political diplomacy would have de-escalated the threat of war instead of issuing empty threats and hyperbole back at Putin. God bless the people of Ukraine, and God bless those Russian soldiers also who are losing their lives following Putin's orders. And from what I've heard, like a lot of those soldiers don't even want to be in that war. They don't believe in the war. They're not for that war. But they have to follow orders, and a lot of them have been killed. People are losing, family members behind this war, Let me readjust this because this thing had gone off for a second. Came back on. Okay, anyway, technology. And they finally submitted enough official evidence. Let me see. Okay, let me go back to where I'm supposed to be at. Okay, you guys know I don't edit and chop this up if I don't have to. If I make a mistake, I just keep on going because we are human. Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk about Trump real quick, okay? Let me get a drink of water and compose myself, okay? I'm going to talk about Trump real quick, okay? Trump getting dumped. This whole insurrection fiasco raises a plethora of rhetorical questions. The biggest one being, how can they go after, arrest, and convict guilty participants of the January 6th insurrection, but still trying to prove the person who invited and incited them that he's culpable? They're actually now they're giving people prison time. They're giving them federal prison time for their participation in the insurrection. But yet they're still trying to see if Trump is culpable of it when he was the guy who led them into it. He's the guy who invited them there. He's the guy who said, we've got to fight. We got to get in there. Mike Pence has to do his job and overturn this. It's on tape. It's on video. It's coming from the horse's mouth. How can they be arresting people and putting them in jail, but yet this guy's still walking around as if nothing's happening? Well, after all this pussyfooting around by the, what do they call it? I hate all these acronyms, the DOJ, Department of Justice, or the Democrats, or whoever, they finally submitted enough evidence against former President Trump to put him away, or at least strip him of his eligibility to run for public office ever again. According to, I think it's the 14th Amendment. The question remains, will they actually convict him? A blind man can see all of the concrete criminal evidence that's weighed against Trump, but for some odd reason, the DOJ and Congress were slow as snails pressing criminal charges against the man who single-handedly incited the worst insurrection and sedition against the United States government since the Civil War. Okay? At this point, all we could do is watch and see, because I'm done watching them fool around with him. I'm done. It's like a roller coaster ride. Hey, we got this. Oh yeah, well, that's not enough to do this. Well, it can't really do that, but his lawyers say this. And it's been going back and forth. They've been doing a sloppy cha-cha back and forth for the past year or so since that insurrection. But let's see what happens. They got all the evidence now. It's all turned in. It's handed over to the Department of Justice. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. But I'm not really concerned, with if he goes to jail or not. That's between them. I'm really concerned that the guy never holds public office again. That's really what I'm concerned about. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the billionaire gods. You guys, in my last video, my commentary, I told you guys about our new billionaire gods. Religious people, don't flip out on me. I'm not calling them our gods, but that's what they're trying to be. So that's why I'm giving them the name, our new billionaire gods. And if people pick up on that, I have a habit of coming up with names for things and terms for things. If people want to pick up on it, hey, that's cool with me. Okay. In my last commentary, I spoke about our new billionaire gods who are buying up every industry that will control our futures and our lives. And since then, Elon Musk has announced that he's willing to step down as CEO of Twitter, that he purchased for around $44 billion if someone else is crazy enough to replace him. And he's not exaggerating, because his companies are like a cult of personality. It's all about him, Elon Musk, Do you guys know who's running Chevrolet Motor Company? Do you guys know who's running Dell computer? But see, we know Elon Musk. Elon Musk. It's a cult of personality. You know, it's about him. So you see, and whoever replaces him as CEO of Twitter will have to answer to him and do his every bidding. And that's not a good look. Let's see what happens. My manager Craig set up a Twitter account for me. I've never accessed it. I don't know the password. I've never been on there. For me, Facebook and WhatsApp, and I'm more. I like to communicate with people more personally. I like to engage with people like that. I think you do it on Twitter too. People say you got to go to Twitter because Twitter's doing this, and a lot of people are monetizing things and making money and all that. But you know, I just never got around to it. So you know, just like I never got around to cryptocurrency. Okay, all right. I want to push. If any of you out there that got caught up in it, I just don't want to push it in your face. I don't want, you know. Okay, here we go. So anyway, all these things that are going on with Elon Musk and Twitter, I'm not really that concerned. What I'm really concerned about is what Elon Musk has up his sleeve with his Neuralink and OpenAI company that's planning on interfacing the human brain with computer chips. That is some worrying-ish. That's what I'm really concerned about. See, you all know about megabytes, right? I'm gonna break this down. You know about gigabytes. You know, my computer here is about 8 gigabytes or something like that. I got an old one. I'm old. I tell you guys, I don't try to keep up with everything. I looked on it, I think it said something around 8 gigabytes or something like that. So we know about the megabytes and gigabytes and volumes of memory storage, right? Well, these mad scientists are hell-bent on outdoing the human brain with a higher volume of memory storage and thinking or computing capacity. The human brain, for those who don't know, the human brain has so far been the most complex and fastest computing entity known to man. But now they're taking things to the next level of memory capacity and expeditious thought performance imaginable. Let me break it down for you guys. For those of you who are not astute in this field of science, if you haven't got your degrees and you're not astute, okay, let me break it down for you guys. So what do we have? Here's what we have. We have terabytes, okay? Terabytes, which is 1,000,000 megabytes, okay? Then we move on to petabytes, which is 1,024 terabytes, okay? So petabytes is 1,024 terabytes. The human brain can store more than 1 quadrillion bytes of data, okay? The human brain can store more than 1 quadrillion bytes of data. That's 2.5 petabytes, okay? That's what the human brain, that's what they're measuring that the human brain can hold, all right? Could be more than that. So from petabytes, all right, we're going to move to exabytes, which is 1,000 petabytes or 1 billion gigabytes, all right? Now, I know by now you guys are probably wondering, did Jeffrey got too much time on his hands? Okay, good. But I love researching things, you guys, and I research so that you guys can fact check me, okay? All right, so after exabytes, we're going on to zettabytes, which is 1 trillion gigabytes, and all the data that's on the internet right now, all the data that's on the internet all over the world right now had hit 64 zettabytes, which is 1 trillion gigabytes. That's all the data that's on the internet right now is 64 zettabytes. They measure that in 2020, so it must be a little higher than that now. And that's pretty damn large, okay? Very large. All the data going on in the world right now, all the memory that's happening, if you put that all together, that'll be 64 gigabytes. And remember, 1 gigabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. So that's 64 trillion gigabytes of information that's going on the social media and on the world webs and online right now. And finally, yottabytes. Now, see, these are things you guys don't know because it's something that you don't have. You don't have this kind of capacity. You don't have any type of hardware that's going to even hold this type of stuff. So don't worry, you're not dumb. This is over our pay grade. So it's out of our range right now, okay? But I'm just breaking you guys down because I want you to understand what the human brain is and what the human brain is capable of doing and what they're trying to do to compete with the human brain, okay? So let's go to yottabytes. A yottabyte is 1 septillion bytes, the largest unit approved as standard size by the International System of Units. That's the equivalent of a quadrillion gigabytes or a million trillion megabytes. And I'm sure nobody's walking around there with a smartphone or a PC or computer that even has a yottabyte, okay? Because you wouldn't be able to hold it in that. This sounds like maybe a warehouse full of computers or something like that holding all this memory, because it's just, So what's going on? At the end of the day, they're trying to outdo the creator of the universe. These billionaires want to be our new gods. And we're all just sitting back in compliance and applauding them just because they are very wealthy financially. They're very wealthy financially. But we have no clue what their real agenda is. Now, I'm not trying to be the author of doom, but it may behoove us to pay attention to what's really going on before it's too damn late. These guys are going into industries that are going to have total control of us. They want to merge our brain, interface our brains with computer chips. What the hell is that about? What is so bad about the organic, natural human brain with all the capacity that we already naturally have? You know, our brains, as they measure, can store 2.5 petabytes. 1 petabyte is 1,024 terabytes, okay? So, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I'm just not into this mad science. I'm into advanced technology. I'm into quantum physics. I'm into, moving things forward, but replacing the human brain, replacing humans, I don't think I could be into that, because if they replace us, we won't be into it. We'll be out of it. So where they're going with this, you guys better keep your eye on it. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, all these people trying to put us in the metaverse and taking us out. We live in a natural, organic universe that's so big it can't even be measured. So why do I want to put myself in their virtual reality metaverse? Just because somebody came up with an idea. So if I come up with, hey, you guys, this is donkey doodle. And if we take donkey doodle and sniff it, it'll give us a nice, are you guys going to do it just because I say so? I mean, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, okay? Anyway, let me move on with this. I don't want to take up you guys' time, because this is a holiday season. I know you guys got the turkey in the oven, and you're wrapping up your Christmas gifts, and you're getting ready for all this stuff. A lot of people probably won't tune into this because it's coming through the weekend. Through the holiday season. But I should have done this a couple of days earlier, but I was caught up into some things. But I just want to hit on a couple of last things, and I'm out of here, okay? So lean in with me, you guys. This is might be the last time we can lean together this year, unless I do something before the New Year's. I don't know. But anyway, check this out. Once again, I'm going to hit up on this Artemis 1 moon rocket, okay? Now, you guys know that I am not a moon landing enthusiast, and with good reason not to be. But one thing I am a very good listener. And anybody who knows me and people that communicate with me, you know this, I'm a very good listener, okay? And when you listen to not only what they're saying, but also what they're not saying, it all comes together. Now, I once heard an astrophysicist say, in order to reach the moon, and listen to this please, and listen, in order to reach the moon, they would need a rocket about the size of the Eiffel Tower. Well, guess what? The Artemis 1 rocket that was recently launched is reportedly the biggest rocket ever launched by NASA. Are you getting this? You getting this? All right. Which means this time they really did intend on going to the moon. Even they also reported that this rocket has gone further than any rocket meant for man to travel in. Even though they didn't have men in it, they had a couple of space crash test dummies. But because they went beyond the moon is reportedly about 240 something thousand miles away. They went 270 something thousand miles away. So they went a little beyond the moon and came back. So this is the farthest that one of their rockets ever been, except for the Hubble telescope and some other probes that they sent out there for something else. But anything that's meant for a man, this is the farthest it's ever been. Because they finally built a rocket capable of going that far. I'm not making this up, you guys. I'm just following their narratives and I'm following their science and I'm following what they're reporting, okay? So it brings to question, how did they reach the moon back in 69 and up until 72 with a smaller and less advanced rocket if it takes a rocket the size of the Artemis 1 to actually do it? People, stop being afraid to use your common sense. Common sense is that safety alert mechanism telling us something is not right. Yes, we can now be canceled for telling the truth, but they haven't found a way to criminalize common sense, at least not yet. Have they? Okay, all right. So we can still use common sense, you guys. And when you're second guessing something, stop being afraid to second guess something, because that's your mechanism, that's your alert mechanism saying, wait a minute, investigate more because I think something's wrong. But we're so geared to follow what the media is telling us, what the news is telling us, what they're reporting. We're trained to follow that. Trust yourselves. Don't be afraid to trust yourselves. That's all I got to say. So I'm going to end this up, you guys. And all I want to say is happy holidays to everybody, regardless to what we believe in and what we don't believe in. But I would still like to say happy holiday. To be honest, I haven't celebrated Christmas for many years now. But every time I see the beautiful Christmas decorations, lighting up the homes, lighting up those city streets like London's Regent Street, like London's Oxford Street, or Omotesando and Roppongi Hills in Tokyo, or in Minato Mirai in Yokohama, and especially hearing those beautiful Christmas melodies, I cannot help but feeling the nostalgia of the beautiful Christmases my mother provided for my sisters and myself growing up as children. They were really beautiful times. They were very beautiful. And I do get the whole, it's the wonderful time of the year. I get all that stuff that's going on because it brings families together and loved ones and the feeling of peace on earth. I get all that, you guys. But now, being in the understanding of the true meaning of these holidays and knowing that we have been lied to, it just doesn't sit well with me in my heart and in my mind, because now we're adults. Even the Bible says, your Bible says, when I was a child, I thought of a child, but now I put away the childish things. There comes a time where we have to put away these things, tooth fairy, Santa Claus, Easter bunnies, Halloween and all this stuff, you guys, because we got to deal with this reality that we're in, the real reality, before they take us out of it and throw us all into this virtual interface with computer chips and all this stuff. This is the future that they plan for us. This is the future that 1% that I told you about, that board meeting room full of people that's now dictating everything for over 8 billion people. How can that happen? How can this happen? I think if an alien life form from another planet were to come here and see that, wait a minute, let me get this straight. You mean 8 billion people are being controlled by this amount of people? What is wrong with you? Why come you guys don't want to stand up and live your own life? Be the author of your own destiny. You have to be the master of your own destiny, and we can be that. Kanye West is going through hell, but at the end of the day, he's trying to be the master of his own destiny. If he's saying the right things, if he's doing the right way, time will tell. But at least he's trying to be the master of his own destiny. I know a lot of you guys don't go along with some of the things he's saying. Of course not, because he's putting it out there. But, he's trying to be the master of his own destiny. There's a few people who are trying to be that, So we can all be that, okay? But anyway, since these holidays are so intrinsically, let me start that over again, and I don't edit. Here we go. But since these holidays are so intrinsically interwoven into our societies, regardless of their true origins, I will say, just treat it like I do religious allegories and plagiarized scriptures. Just recalibrate our perception of these holidays. The holiday is there. It's about Santa Claus and Christmas trees and this and that. It's about a baby born in a manger and whatever. And all we have to do is recalibrate our perception of these holidays. And you can continue doing it if you want to, okay? So I'm not trying to rain on your parade and tell you, don't do this, don't do that, because you're going to do what you want to do anyway, regardless to what I say. But I'm just trying to help you guys I'm trying to finesse your cognitive facilities. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm here trying to finesse your cognitive facilities, all right? So I'd like to say a prayer for the so many people who will be spending this holiday season lonely without a loved one that was taken away from you by COVID or any other causes of death. Whoever's lost anyone that won't be with you this year round, we pray for them and God bless their souls. Having said that, I want to wish all of you a very safe, healthy, prosperous, and happy holiday season. And may our Creator bless you and all of your loved ones, okay? This is Jeffrey Daniel signing out. Remember, I'm just trying to spread the love. I'm just trying to take us back to the world. And I'm just trying to make our experience here a better place in this universe, all right? I love you all. Please take care. Have a very happy holiday season, okay? Jeffrey Daniel, I'm out.